I just saw this in the news. Cherry Vann becomes first woman and LGBTQ cleric named archbishop in Britain. While the broader International Anglican Communion has had openly gay bishops before, Vann will be the first lesbian to serve as archbishop globally. Oh, this is interesting news. I remember back in, I think it was 2004, when Gene Robinson became an openly gay archbishop in the Episcopal Church in the United States. And at the time, he wore a bulletproof vest to the service to recognize his ordination because he had received so many death threats. And I find the reaction to an installation like that or that of Cherry Vann is a way of showing how much large segments of the conservative Christian population hate gay people. For example, here is a response. So, the Daily Caller, a conservative website in the US, um, tweeted about this, and then you'll find Cat Turd responding to this. And Cat Turd, in case you don't know, is like a MAGA Christian personality on Twitter slash X, and they're very popular. They regularly get thousands and thousands of likes for their tweets and retweets and so on. And this is Cat Turd's response to Cherry Vann being installed as a new archbishop. Demon, Cat Turd says, and you won't convince me otherwise. So Cat Turd presumably knows nothing about Cherry Vann except that she is a quote unquote lesbian, and that is sufficient for Cat Turd to say she is a demon. Which right there, I think, just kind of shows how many conservative Christians view the gay community. And I think it's also interesting that Cat Turd boasts, you won't convince me otherwise. Like, in other words, no matter how many good things, how much fruit is produced by Cherry Vann in her life, how much she has shown the love of neighbor, you're not going to convince me that she's anything other than a demon. And for Cat Turd to be proud of that as a position, and for thousands of people to have liked and retweeted this same sentiment, I think tells us a lot about how deep the antipathy is toward lesbians and gay people within the conservative church and the MAGA church. The same church that embraces and praises Donald Trump, thrice married serial adulterer who was adjudicated to be a sexual abuser, who has been credibly accused of sexual assault by more than 2 dozen women, and who has had an intimate, close friendship with the world's most notorious pedophile. And he's currently trying to cover up his own links to that pedophile. None of that matters. But if you are a lesbian archbishop, you are a demon. Talk about homophobia. So I was wondering, who is Cherry Vann? Because honestly, I don't know really anything about her either. I went to YouTube, watched a couple videos. This is one of the first videos that I saw posted in relation to Cherry Vann, where she's introducing a new affordable housing complex where apparently they're repurposing churches that have been closed and making them into affordable housing for the more economically disempowered population. You should just watch this 50 or 45-second clip.
My name's Cherry Vann. I'm the Bishop of Monmouth. I'm really delighted to be here and to see this project come to fruition. It's always sad when a church building has to close, but what better way of using the land and the space that the church can't inhabit anymore to provide really good quality housing for people who are struggling. And I think what we've seen here in the apartments and the houses is a really good news story. We've got some wonderful spaces for people to live in the community where they can fit in and belong and make a new start. And I'm delighted to be here to see that happen.
I don't know, does that seem like a demon to you? I mean, even if you disagree with the ethics of same-sex relationships. It's an important ethical question on which you disagree with Cherry Vann. Can you not see that the kingdom of God is coming through her actions in some ways? If you believe the only way to look at a person you disagree with on this issue is that they are a demon, is that not evidence to your own homophobia and bigotry? Uh, Here's my final thought. I believe it's time for a new reformation, one that gets rid of this binary thinking on this important issue of same-sex relationships, gay marriage, where either somebody agrees with your view or they are a demon. So, in the wideness of the sea, how to be evangelical and gay affirming, I am trying to create the space for people to recognize the kingdom of God coming in all sorts of places and that you can reasonably disagree with one another about gay marriage and same-sex relationships. And even if you believe someone like Cherry Vann is incorrect on this issue, perhaps you can still recognize this is an issue on which Christians can reasonably disagree. You don't have to think that she is a demon and dismiss her as a demon, dehumanizing her, objectifying her. Rather, you can recognize the kingdom of God coming in the midst through people like Cherry Vann, even if you disagree with them. So, if you're interested in this kind of project, if you think maybe we need a new reformation on this area as well, pick up your copy of The Wideness of the Sea.